There is a small handful of translucent crystals sold for about $2 that will make you unlimited probiotic soda for the rest of your life, and then keep making more of itself so you can give it to everyone you know. It is not a machine. It is not a subscription. It is a living culture that has been passed from hand to hand across the world for centuries, and here is the strangest part of its story. Traditionally, you were never allowed to buy it. It was only ever given as a gift, because the culture multiplies every single time you use it, and selling something that reproduces itself endlessly for free felt to the people who kept it, almost like a betrayal. Today, the probiotic industry is worth $77 billion a year. They sell you capsules of dead and dying bacteria for $40 a bottle, and cans of so-called gut-healthy soda for $3.50 that contain, in most cases, not a single live culture. And this $2 handful of crystals produces a living, fizzy, genuinely probiotic drink for pennies forever and multiplies itself while it does it. This is water kefir, and the reason the wellness industry prays you never find it is that you cannot sell a person something that reproduces itself for free. Welcome to Lost Plant Remedies. Let me tell you what these crystals actually are, because it is one of the small miracles of the natural world. Water kefir grains, also called tibicos, are not grains at all. They are a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, dozens of beneficial strains living together in a self-organizing community. Held inside a translucent, crystal-like structure, the colony builds for itself out of sugar. When you drop these grains into sugar water, the colony wakes up and goes to work. The bacteria and yeast consume the sugar, and in exchange they produce lactic acid, beneficial enzymes, B vitamins, and a light natural carbonation, transforming plain sugar water into a tart, sparkling, living probiotic drink in about 48 hours. And as they eat, they grow. The colony multiplies, so that the small handful you started with becomes a larger handful, and then you must give some away, because there is always more than you need. This is the opposite of everything the modern food economy is built on. It is a food that makes more of itself the more you use it. Science has only recently caught up with what these grains are doing, and the closer you look, the stranger and more wonderful it gets. When researchers sequenced the microbial communities inside water kefir, they found that the crystal structure itself is built by the bacteria. A chain of sugar molecules called dextran is spun by a species named Lactobacillus hilgardi into a translucent scaffold, and inside that scaffold dozens of other bacteria and yeasts take up residence, each with a job. Some produce the acids that preserve the drink, some the enzymes that pre-digest it, some the gentle carbonation, some the B vitamins. It is not a single organism. It is a functioning miniature ecosystem, self-organizing, self-repairing, and self-multiplying, the same way a coral reef or a forest is, and it fits in the palm of your hand. A 2019 review in the journal Frontiers in Microbiology catalogued this rich living diversity in a mature culture. Compare that to a probiotic capsule, which typically contains 1, 2, or a handful of laboratory-grown strains, freeze-dried, and then left to weaken on a warm shelf for months. Study after study has swabbed those capsules at the point of sale and found a large share of the organisms already dead. The living grain is the opposite of the dying capsule. One is a factory that runs forever on a spoonful of sugar. The other is a snapshot of bacteria that were alive in a laboratory a long time ago and may not be alive now. $40 for a bottle of the dying, or $2 once for the source of the living, that then multiplies until you are giving it away. The health of it is real, and it matters, because the gut is where so much of human health begins. The bacteria in a mature water kefir carry a genuinely diverse population of beneficial strains, far more diverse than what survives in a shelf-stable capsule. And this is the crucial point that the probiotic industry does not advertise. A probiotic capsule contains bacteria that were grown, freeze-dried, and then sat on a warm shelf in a warehouse and a store for months before you swallowed them. And study after study has found that many of the organisms in those capsules are dead or dying by the time they reach you. A living ferment is different. The organisms in water kefir are alive, active, and by the billions, delivered in a drink your gut recognizes as food. A 2019 review in the journal Frontiers in Microbiology documented the rich microbial diversity of traditional water kefir and its potential benefits for the gut. And unlike milk kefir or yogurt, water kefir is dairy-free and gentle, which is why it has been used for centuries as the first probiotic drink given to sensitive stomachs, to children, and to the recovering sick. So here is the question. If a $2 culture makes unlimited living probiotic soda forever, why is the market full of $40 capsules and $3 cans instead? Why has almost no one heard of it? The answer is written into the biology of the thing. You cannot build a $77 billion industry on a culture that reproduces itself for free and gets passed around for nothing. Think about it from the industry side. A probiotic company needs you to come back and buy another bottle next month, and the month after that forever. A soda company needs you to buy another can. Their entire business depends on you never having the source. Water kefir is the source. Buy it once, or better yet, be given it once, and you never need to buy a probiotic again. And neither does anyone you share it with, and neither does anyone they share it with. A culture like this is not a product. It is the end of a product, and so it was never advertised, never stocked, never taught, and quietly left to survive the only way it ever has, passed from one kitchen to the next by people who understood what they were holding, because it did survive everywhere, the whole time. Water kefir has been made for centuries across Mexico, where it is called tibicos, across the Caucasus, across Europe, wherever people wanted a living, healthful drink and had a little sugar to feed the culture. It went by a dozen names: Japanese water crystals, California bees, sugar kefir grains, but it was always the same gift, always multiplying, always shared. Half the world kept it alive in their kitchens, while the other half was taught to buy fizzy water in a can. Every one of those kitchens kept a culture that no company had ever sold them, and passed it to the next family the moment there was more of it than one jar could hold. So let me show you how to make it, because it could not be simpler, and once you start, you will never stop. You need water kefir grains, which you can buy online for a couple of dollars, or, in the old tradition, get for free from anyone who already makes it. You need sugar, real sugar, because the culture eats the sugar and leaves very little behind. So the finished drink is low in sugar even though you feed it plenty. And you need non-chlorinated water, because chlorine harms the culture, so use filtered water, or leave tap water out overnight for the chlorine to evaporate. Here is the method. Dissolve a quarter cup of sugar in a quart of the water. Add a quarter cup of the kefir grains. The culture also likes a few trace minerals, so drop in a piece of dried fig or a small pinch of unrefined sugar, or even a clean eggshell, which helps it thrive. Cover the jar with a cloth, not a sealed lid, and let it sit at room temperature out of direct sun for 24 to 48 hours. When it tastes tart and slightly fizzy and less sweet, it is done. Strain out the grains and they are ready to start your next batch immediately. The liquid you strained off is your first drink, and it is good as it is. But here is where it becomes magic. Take that strained liquid, pour it into a sealed bottle with a little fruit juice or a few pieces of fresh fruit, and leave it at room temperature for another day or two. This second fermentation, in a sealed bottle, builds real carbonation, so that when you open it, it hisses and foams like a proper soda, naturally sparkling, bursting with flavour, and alive with billions of beneficial organisms for a few cents a bottle. Grape juice, ginger, lemon, berries, whatever you like, and every batch your grains multiply, so within a few weeks you will have far more than you need, and you will be doing what everyone who has ever kept this culture does, giving it away. A word of honest guidance, though the cautions here are few. Water kefir is one of the gentlest and safest ferments there is, but if you're entirely new to live probiotics, start with a small glass a day, and let your gut adjust over a week or two. Keep your equipment clean. Use non-chlorinated water and real sugar so the culture stays healthy, and if a batch ever smells foul or grows fuzzy mold rather than simply tasting tart, discard it and start fresh. Treated with basic cleanliness, a healthy set of grains will produce for you for years, so think about what has been kept from you. The probiotic industry does not want you to know that a $2 culture makes living soda forever and multiplies while it does it. The soda companies do not want you to know their gut-healthy can has no live cultures at all. They will not tell you this drink has been passed hand to hand for centuries. They will not tell you it was traditionally never sold, only given. They will not tell you that the only reason it is not on every shelf is that a food which reproduces itself for free is the one thing an industry built on the monthly sale can never allow. They will not tell you, because there is no profit in the gift that keeps giving. But the culture does not need their permission, and neither do you. Picture your kitchen a year from now, a jar of sparkling living soda always working on the counter, your grains multiplying faster than you can use them, your children drinking something that heals their gut instead of harming it, and a little bag of crystals by the door ready to give to the next person who asks. That is not just a drink, that is a small, quiet declaration of independence from an industry that sells you dead bacteria and calls it health. And it started with a $2 handful of crystals that will now feed your family and everyone they love forever. If this opened something for you, subscribe to Lost Plant Remedies before this video disappears, because we cover the ferments and the forgotten knowledge that a $77 billion industry would much rather you never went looking for. And if you want me to walk you through your first batch of water kefir step by step, along with 4 other forgotten remedies, grab my free 5-day course, The Lost Ferment, linked in the description below. It costs nothing. This culture was always meant to be given away. Come and take it.